But dwarfing these items is a gigantic machine.
This artifact has a bullet-resistant windshield. A large propeller juts out of its nose. It is 44 feet wide and 32 feet long. It weighs nearly 5 tons, and it is massive in size.
This is a Grumman F-6 F-5 Hellcat. And while most of these planes saw combat during the world's biggest conflicts, this one recalls a terrifying crisis that plunged an American suburb into panic.
This object recalls a small town's quick descent into mayhem.
What military mishap sparked a bizarre Cold War catastrophe? It's 1956. The threat of a Soviet strike against the United States weighs heavily on people across the nation.
It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
In 1956, the thing most Americans fear is an attack from the Soviet Union.
And for one small community on the West Coast, that fear is about to become a frightening reality. Or so it seems. August 16th, Palmdale, California. Locals in this suburban desert town just outside of Los Angeles are enjoying a quiet summer's day, when just before noon, they hear a series of deafening explosions. And as residents look to the skies, they're horrified by what they see. Missiles are raining down on Palmdale.
People were starting to panic. There were people who were running for cover. This frantic town was blown to bits, and no one could say why.
More than 60 missiles hit the town. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the terrifying barrage stops. Thankfully, no one is hurt. As the dust settles, the residents of Palmdale wonder if this was the opening salvo of World War III. For many, the answer is clear.
It seemed as though Cold War tensions had finally splintered and a Soviet attack had reached American soil. This could be something big.
But what they're about to find out is that this terrifying turn of events wasn't a Soviet attack. Instead, it came from much closer to home. Within days of the incident, a representative from the U.S. Navy reveals the truth. According to the authorities, military officials at the Point Mugu Naval Air Station, 100 miles to the west of Palmdale, had been developing a radical new type of weapon: unmanned fighter aircraft, known today as drones. The technology behind these remote-controlled aircraft was still in its infancy, but the Navy saw that they could give the United States the edge in the Cold War. So, to test the weapon's capabilities, the Navy converted one of its planes, a Grumman F-6 F-5 Hellcat, like the one on display at the Cradle of Aviation Museum, into a drone. On August 16, 1956, the plane was launched on a routine flight. But shortly after takeoff, with the drone headed straight toward downtown Los Angeles, the Navy lost control of it.
For the Navy commanders, the worst case scenario was that the drone would crash into Los Angeles, a county that at this time has 5 million people living there.
To take down the rogue drone before it wreaked destruction on LA, the Navy scrambled 2 fighter jets. High above the town of Palmdale, the pilots intercepted the drone.
The pilots knew that this was not an ideal situation, but if they were going to take their shots, now was the moment.
The pilots fired dozens of rockets at the aircraft. But the projectiles missed their target, and instead rained down on Palmdale. In all, the salvo destroyed several cars and left 2 houses badly damaged.
There was an incredible amount of damage done to Palmdale, California. But luckily, no one on the ground was killed.
Unable to shoot it down, the pilots continued to chase the drone as it hurtled towards Los Angeles. Until several minutes later, when the rogue aircraft suffered a malfunction and crashed harmlessly 8 miles east of Palmdale.
This story was a huge embarrassment to the Navy, but luckily nothing worse than that.
Today, this Grumman F-6 F-5 Hellcat is on display at the Cradle of Aviation Museum in Garden City, New York. It recalls the incredible tale of an out-of-control drone and a town under fire.